We got two new guys who are going to be Hall of Famers to talk about, and at least one guy who's not going to be a Hall of Famer that I'm not too happy about. Let's get to it.
And he drives it into right center field, hit a ton. This baby is way back. On a
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball channel. And today we're going to talk about the Hall of Fame, and the committee has met. This is the committee that gets together and votes on potential Hall of Famers after they are no longer eligible to get into the Hall of Fame by the normal voting procedures. So once a player is off the regular ballot, they can still be elected by this committee. This committee gets together, they get a list of names, and they vote on those names to see who's going to get in. It's a 16-person committee that includes ex-players, it includes some executives, it includes some media. They get together, they are the chosen ones, and they vote. And there are some pretty big names on the committee. We're talking George Brett, we're talking about Robin Yount, we're talking about Ozzie Smith, Dennis Eckersley, guys like that. It is a serious committee. And they voted in a couple of guys, one who wasn't even a player, but I think he is probably deserving, and we'll get to that. This is the same method that Harold Baines and Lee Smith got elected last year. Harold Baines was a pretty controversial selection. I didn't really have a problem with it, but I understand why it's controversial. His stats are, nice, but I don't know if Hall of Fame worthy. It's definitely a discussion, but I was certainly happy for him. And also Lee Smith, who I thought should have got in, and I thought should have already been in for a long time. He was the major league record holder for saves. That record finally got broken, but I couldn't believe that Lee Smith couldn't get in. There was all these other closers getting in, and the guy with more saves than anybody couldn't get in. Well, Lee Smith got in last year. And this year, the candidates, there were 10 candidates. They included Thurman Munson, Don Mattingly, Steve Garvey, Tommy John, Dave Parker, Dwight Evans, Dale Murphy, Ted Simmons, and Lou Whitaker. But this is also the method by which non-players can get elected, talking about executives and owners and things like that. And Union Chief Marvin Miller was on the ballot as well, and he got elected. So Marvin Miller is in. And what player got elected? I said some big names there. Don Mattingly, Donnie Baseball, he's got to get in, right? He has got to get in. Tommy John, if you look at his stats, holy cow, it's legit. He's not just a surgery. Dwight Evans, Dave Parker, big names, right? No. Getting elected this year along with Marvin Miller is the one and only Ted Simmons. Yes, Ted Simmons is going in. Congratulations to him. Now, he did play a little bit before my time. I saw him a little bit in the 80s, I believe, but not much. This guy, by the time I was watching baseball, he was towards the end of his career. So this guy played back in the day. So when I heard that name, I'm like, what? You serious? I mean, he's a nice player, but I just couldn't believe that Don Mattingly did not get elected, because he is the one I really wanted to get in out of these 10, Don Mattingly. But before we get to that, before I start complaining, let's talk about the guys that did get in. Marvin Miller, Union Chief. Well, what is a Union Chief getting into the Hall of Fame for? This is a man who forever changed the game of baseball and how it is for players by strengthening their union. He helped negotiate the Players Association's first collective bargaining agreement with owners, and was one of the key guys in helping create free agency, which is something that is very important to players to be able to, like all the rest of us, be able to work where they want to work. Average player salary increased from $19,000 to $241,000 while he was Union Chief. So anyone out there who's like, that's how ridiculous, how they get paid so much money, Marvin Miller is the guy to be mad at. So Marvin Miller, he was a key proponent, though, in giving these players some rights. Yes, it's the dream to play Major League Baseball, but these guys do put in a lot of effort. They're away from their families a lot, and when you're stuck on a team and you can't do anything about it, that wasn't right. So now they have free agency. Now they get better compensated, and when I say better compensated, they get better compensated. These guys are obviously multi-millionaires now, a lot of them, most of them, and that's because of Marvin Miller, who was just a major part of the players' struggle to not only just make more money, but to be able to play where they want to play after their first initial, period with the team that drafts them. They are allowed to become free agents, play where they want, and Marvin Miller was a big part of that. So he was such a key guy and such an important figure in the game of baseball, in what Major League Baseball is today, that I think that it is appropriate that he has a plaque in the Hall of Fame, and he is going to get one. There's so much to talk about this guy, and I've read a lot about him, but not going to go on and on about him. Congratulations to Marvin Miller. Maybe another video talk more in depth about him. Also in is Ted Simmons, a catcher. He had a career average of 285, 2,472 hits, 248 home runs, 21 seasons with the Cardinals, the Brewers, and the Braves. And I remember, him being on some of those really crappy Braves teams of the 80s. In the postseason, he only had a 186 average, 3 home runs in 17 games, and that was in 1981 to 1982 with the Brewers. Some achievements that stand out for him at 8 All-Star games, a Silver Slugger, and overall just a really solid catcher. But that's it, a solid catcher, nice long career, put up some big numbers. I don't know if he's Hall of Fame worthy. Now, I'm not going to be mad about him. I'm not going to get mad at someone getting in. Congratulations to him. This is a guy who is, he's got nice numbers. He had a nice career. He's in. But what I don't get is, why is he in and some of these other guys I mentioned who I think are far more deserving don't get in? And the main guy I want to highlight is going to be Don Mattingly, because he was on the list. Now, I could really rant about guys like Fred McGriff, but he wasn't even on the list this year. So I can't say nothing about that. They didn't even, his name wasn't on there. He wasn't one of the 10. But Mattingly was. He hit 307 in his career. Now, yes, the problem is some of his career numbers, I guess 2,153 hits is just not good enough, but he was on a pace to get well over that. Now, he didn't get it. Yeah, who cares what pace he's on, right? I get that, but this dude was like the best player in the game for a long period of the time. In the late 80s, this dude was it. This guy was a stud. He was constantly hitting, 30 home run, 330, 340 average, way up there, just tearing up the game for years and years. Yeah, he had back trouble. And I know you can't say, because he had back trouble, that's an excuse to put him in because he would have been in. Now, that's not how it works. I get that. I'm still saying he fought through that. He still put up some numbers. He did well. He didn't have much postseason experience, but the little postseason experience he had, he hit over 400. So this is a team sport. It's not his fault that he played for the Yankees during an era where the Yankees weren't just, making it the World Series all the time. Just didn't happen for him. He didn't have the right teammates around him. But he was part of the reason that those 80s Yankees were at least watchable. They were all right. This was during a stretch where the Yankees were pretty much at their worst, but they still had Don Mattingly. Donnie Baseball, he was a beast. Does he have any Major League records? Yeah. He homered in 8 consecutive games, which tied a Major League record, which stands to this day. It was tied again by Ken Griffey Jr. Oh, was he ever the best player in the game? Yes, 1985 American League MVP, 1985 American League batting champion. Oh, but he didn't make that many All-Stars. 6 All-Stars. Oh, but he wasn't that good defensively. He was just a hitter. 9 Gold Gloves, 3 Silver Sluggers. Number 23, retired by the Yankees. He is one of the greats. You think back. You go from the 30s onward, from the 20s onward, when you start talking about Ruth, you start talking about Gehrig. You go into the 40s, you got DiMaggio. 50s and 60s, you got Mantle. 70s, you got Reggie Jackson. All these guys are, what about in the 80s? You had Don freaking Mattingly. His career numbers, they aren't as good as you'd like them to be because he had some injury problems, but he still got the career. He got 2,000 plus hits. He hit over 300. He got 222 career home runs. Let's not make it like, the magic, 500, the magic 3,000. There ain't no magic nothing. Is he a Hall of Famer or not? I think he is, but he didn't get in. So it's sad for Don Mattingly. There's a couple other guys who I could see getting in, and I would have liked to see get in on that list. I mentioned Tommy John, also Steve Garvey. I can't believe when I saw Steve Garvey's name, I said, wait a minute. I thought he was in. He's not in. I always forget. Steve Garvey's not even in. That's insane. But I'm not going to rant about all day about who didn't get in. Congratulations to who did get in. Ted Simmons, Marvin Miller, both Hall of Famers. Marvin Miller definitely deserving. Ted Simmons, it's a discussion, but he's in. And I congratulate him, and I congratulate Marvin Miller. He's passed away, but congratulations anyway to him and his family. He's getting in the Hall of Fame. That is awesome. But unfortunately, Don Mattingly, not in the Hall. How is Don Mattingly not in the Hall of Fame? But if there's another guy who I think should be even more, I said it, and it's Fred McGriff. Fred McGriff is not a Hall of Famer? What is this? Harold Baines, Ted Simmons, but not Fred McGriff? Thank you guys for joining me today. Tell me what you think of the two guys who got elected and about the guys who didn't. Is there anyone else on that list who should have got in? We got a lot of good players on that list. What about Dave Parker? What about Dwight Evans? These are some good players. Maybe not Hall of Fame players, but very nice players. Did not get elected. So let me know what your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will respond and give you a heart unless you're a total jerk. Thanks again, guys. Check the links in the description. I got a Twitter, I got a Facebook account, and I also have a Patreon. If you want to give back to the channel, help me grow this brand, Humm Baby Baseball. We're talking baseball, and we ain't stopping. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you next time. See ya! When the Giants come to town, it's bye-bye, baby. Every time the chips are down, it's bye-bye, baby. History's in the making at Oracle Park.